No pressure.
Can you see my full screen or just, can you see my notes and stuff too?
I can see your notes and stuff too.
Oh, okay. I don't know why it's doing that.
Display settings up at the top. And just do start from beginning starts over on the left. Okay, now I just see your.
What about notes now?
Now I see notes.
I don't know why it's doing that. We're just going to go without the notes. Save.
Kind of like back in the day where you would have live TV. This is a live webinar. You never know.
I don't know why it's doing that. So
usually it's just dogs or cats or anything like that. Since, oh, speaking of, there's a dog right behind Michelle.
Yeah, my puppies may bounce in here once in a while. All right, well, we'll go without the notes then.
Okay. So welcome back for our monthly webinar about our Mindful Money series. Today we are talking about your home inventory and your net worth. And so we have a lot of things to say about this. And one of the things is you might not know exactly what you have until you know. So today we've got myself and Michelle Cooner. So Michelle is going to the next slide for me. So I could read all of those letters after her name: CHFC, FP, QP, CRPC, CFF, CCC, CFHC. Say that 10 times fast. She's president of Personal Money Planning, and all those letters means that she knows how to manage your money for retirement and for right now. And I am Tina Hopla. I'm the marketing manager and a certified credit counselor. She found this quote from Susie Orman. You can never solve a financial problem with money. The only way for you to have a larger net worth is for you to go within to see why you are going without. And I think as we look in and out of our homes, Michelle's going to explain a little bit more about that. So go ahead and go.
I think,
Michelle.
Yeah, and I think we've covered this on a number of occasions during our courses about, you know, what's important to you, what do you value, and that's really what's valuable in your life is not the, you know, all of the items that you have in your house, but really having some of those things that you value, like financial stability. That's a big thing when we talk credit counseling, and this really deals, you know, with behavioral finance. So what do you value? What makes you happy? What makes you peaceful? And being mindful and intentional about that. Today, we are going to be talking about what your net worth is and really kind of establishing what that is. We know, I mean, it's pretty basic to take your assets, subtract your liabilities, and that comes up with your net worth. But when we think about that, oftentimes what we do is we look at the big things, right? We look at, you know, our house, our home, our car, our bank accounts, but we don't look at all the things that are inside of our home. And those can really add up as well. So let's just take a look at this and see, when we look at this picture, and if you want to blurt out and share your responses or what you think, I think I got a hair on my lip here. Feel free to just comment on these. What do you see in this picture? Like if I were creating a home inventory, what would I include in this?
Feel free to chat or unmute yourself if you'd like to blurt out, because the first thing that I see is the TV.
Yeah, the TV. It's a big expense. Electronics are expensive, right?
Right. What do you think, Walter?
Well, it's got some great looking furniture.
It does. And I don't know if you've shopped for furniture recently, but it's probably more expensive than the TV. Because TVs have come, well, maybe not now because of getting the parts and pieces for it, but or the components to build the TVs, but furniture is really expensive. And so when we look around our room, you know, those are the electronics are what we're drawn to. It's just automatic. That's what we look at. But the furniture is a big thing. Heirlooms are a big thing. If this little table, let me see if I can do a pointer here. If this little table were an antique, that, you know, maybe I got it from my great grandmother. It was kind of not the style, but let's say that it was an antique, and that was passed down to me. That may have a lot of value. And so when we look around the room, we need to include everything. What about the carpet? Have you shopped for a carpet, a rug? Those are expensive. And most people, you know, you walk on it, you don't think about it, but those are all expensive things. So are light fixtures, ceiling fans, the plates for the light switch covers. I redid my bedroom not long ago, and I didn't get the plastic one, I got the fancy ones, and those were pretty expensive. And if something happened in my home, if my home burnt down, I wouldn't really be able to prove a lot of that unless I documented it. So that's really what we're looking at, is not just what our bank accounts show, what our big items are, TV, boom mic, you know. I don't think does anyone have a DVD player anymore? I think everything's streaming now.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes, for our 3D DVDs, our 3D.
Don't make me date myself.
Got a beta VCR?
I do not have a beta.
Good one. But I think one of the reasons people don't really, you know, take the time to do this is because it is overwhelming. If I had to look around that room, and that room was pretty clear. I mean, there wasn't a lot in there. Even sitting down and figuring out how much, or when I bought the couch or the TV, or, you know, passing what that value is of that end table that was passed down from my grandmother. What dates do I put? What information is needed? What value? And then do I have to go online and search for that value? You know, what it all entails is kind of overwhelming for a lot of people. And so the easiest way to not get overwhelmed is just don't do it, right? That's the choice that a lot of people make. Problem solved, right? But the problem is that when we do that and we take that route, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot later on down the road, because we will need to, hopefully, we won't need to, but we will maybe need to file an insurance claim at some point. And if we don't, it's going to create much more work later. What if we, another big thing, and I think we talked about this, Tina, looking around the room, if you have artwork or, you know, a vase or something fancy, a collectible, that may not even be covered under your homeowner's insurance. So being able to take a step back and evaluate if everything in your actual inventory is covered adequately is another big reason to have insurance. I mean, like, there are riders that you have to put on insurance, like jewelry. If you have jewelry, you know, you may have a safe or a jewelry box that's locked up in a closet, but if that gets damaged, that's not covered under your homeowner's policy, only up to a certain dollar amount. So if you have a lot of jewelry, you may find out that you're not adequately covered for any of that. Collectibles, if you have coins, I know a lot of people that have coins or ingots that they keep in their safe. That those necessarily aren't covered, only up to a certain amount. So you have to get a rider on your insurance policy. So by taking inventory of what is actually in your house allows you not only to have a good inventory of it, to know what you own, to know what your net value is, but also to realize if you're actually adequately covered.
Right.
So,
Don't be like Cinderella and don't know what you got till it's gone. You should know what you have. So if it is gone, you know how to get it. You know, you have the means to get it covered.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So really, it speeds up insurance claims as well. I mean, let's face it. If we're in the middle of chaos, that is the absolute wrong time to try to make a major decision, right? It's the wrong time to try to pull all these data points to yourself. I know I guess it was about maybe 2 years ago, I had some damage on my roof. We had a storm blow through, some shingles were missing. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I did call the insurance company and they said I needed a whole new roof. And I figured that much. But what I didn't realize is he was walking through the yard and he saw my busted pot. I had a big potter plant outside and he's like, well, what about that? And I was like, oh yeah, that got busted too. And we're throwing that away along with this pool float that got damaged. And he's like, but we are covering all of that. And I never thought about any of that stuff really being covered. I never thought to take an inventory of a solar light I put around the pool or the set of solar lights and when I bought them and how much I paid for them. But all of that stuff was covered. And so if I do have to make a claim, God willing that I don't have to make a claim from a tornado or a fire damage to the house. But if I did and there was a loss, at least I would have all of that information and I'm not trying to think, oh yeah, there was a pool float and some solar lights and oh yeah, this all of these other things in the house. I know, and I have all that there. So it's a really good way to kind of get your information lined up, but it also helps you figure out what your actual net worth is. So how to create a home inventory. There are many ways about this. We've looked at it not being just about your electronics, but also about all of the things in your house. The ceiling fans, light fixtures, plate covers, the content, and this is a scary one, of your closet. Drawers, all of these things and things that we don't think about, like the bathroom. Who takes an inventory of their bathroom? It's like, yep, 6 rolls of toilet paper. But what some of those things can get expensive. Like Tina and I were talking about the other day. If you have like one of those Dyson hair dryers, they're like $400 to dry your hair. The Chi irons, there's the GHI irons, all these flat irons and hair tools can really get expensive, as well as if you have like an electronic razor or any of that type of stuff. Also, I don't know if you've done bathroom remodeling, but I did a few years ago. Well, I guess it was about 9 years ago. And I ended up getting, some fancy the rainfall shower head. Those are expensive. And so all of those little things add up, and it's really important to have an inventory of that, because if something did happen, I want things put back the way that they were. I don't want to settle for something and something lesser than what I had. And unless I have some documentation that that's what I had, it's just standard then. So if you do any upgrades, it's important to document that. But your linens, your bathroom, your basements, don't forget the storage. If you have a storage unit, your attic, your garage, because those things do add up and you want to have an inventory of all of those.
We have a lot of things in our homes. I mean, there are going to be things that you're not going to include on that. I know that I was reading something that said the average household has 100,000 items or something in your home. Just if you count every little thing, like a ruler and a pen, and you add all these things, and it was about simplifying. So when you're thinking about this, you can get overwhelmed, and so I think we're going to talk a little bit about how to go step by step. What step can you do first? Because it does, when you think about all these things, it seems really overwhelming.
And for those types of things, I dreaded my closet, and I said, I'm not doing an inventory of my closet until I clean it out. It would take me longer to inventory than to just clean it. And so I need to go through and get rid of some, because we get a lot of t-shirts and stuff from conferences. And so I have all of these t-shirts and bags and, backpacks, and one that I thought was really cool was a solar powered backpack that you could plug your phone into. And one of the conference vendors gave it away. And I was like, this is so cool, because it was at the beach. And so I was like, this is great. I'm going to charge my phone and my laptop. It does not work. And so it was a terrible idea. So yeah, I'll be getting rid of that. But I thought, well, maybe in a pinch, it may work. Maybe it'll charge my phone enough. But some of those things I need to go through and get rid of before I do the inventory. But when you do that in your closet, you may just do something like, okay, I have, instead of saying one black shirt, another black shirt, another black shirt, because I wear a lot of black, one white shirt. But you may end up saying, I have this many shirts, this many pairs of pants, this many, skirts, shorts, whatever, and kind of group those together, unless it's something expensive. If you have a really nice dress shirt that's really expensive, you can label that separately. But for the most part, you're just kind of getting a general idea. You don't have to list how many pairs of socks, how many pairs of underwear, you don't have to get into detail about that, or how many bobby pins you have. Just know that, for the majority of it, because you will get reimbursed for those. But for the majority of it, just say, and hair products, and you can incorporate all of your scrunchies and rubber bands and combs and all of that into one, or, this many pairs of sneakers or flip-flops. What I've been wearing mostly is flip-flops. So this many pairs of flip-flops that are in my closet. So you kind of group those together. Don't need to go crazy. You don't need to list every little detail like Tina said, but it's a good idea to incorporate as much as you can. Now, where do you put all this stuff? This is once you have gathered up all of your information, where are you going to stick it? And there's old school. You can go pen and paper. You can write it down on a spiral and stick it, somewhere in your home. I do not suggest that, because if your home burns down, so does your home inventory. So you may want to make a copy of it and store it somewhere else. Some people will photocopy and then store it as a PDF in the cloud somewhere on a OneDrive, a Google Drive. What's the Apple one, Tina? Is there an Apple Drive? iCloud, Apple Drive. They should name it Apple Drive. And so if you do all of that, you can store it somewhere else. But the problem with that is, if I change something, if I have something listed and I get rid of it, I'm scribbling this out and I'm putting something new. So it can get kind of messy. And then I'm going to have to rescan that and put it back into the cloud. I can go digital, right? I can make a spreadsheet. That's pretty easy. I can store that in the cloud. I can go through once a year and make sure it's updated. That's what we call newer old school. And then there's the wrongest way. The wrongest way is in your head. Don't just think, oh yeah, I'll remember what I have, because I can assure you, when you are put on the spot, this is proven when people are in the middle of, like, if they've witnessed a crime and we see people like eyewitness testimony, it's very not a very high recommended type of thing, because there's so many different things. We did this when I was in banking. We did a training session where it was after hours, and we had someone come in, two robbers, and they came in and said different things to people and then left. And we had to focus on what we saw. We compared what that was like. Were they wearing this? Did they have facial hair? Was it a mustache? Was it, did they have a beard? What were they wearing? How tall were they? All these different things. And the reports that we got were just all over the place. So we know that under stress, we are not good with that type of stuff. And usually when you're having to come up with this, what you have in your house is under a stressful situation. So we might as well do it now while we're not stressed. So the wrongest way is in your head. You can do it any other way, but a really easy way is the National Association of Insurance Commissioners came up with an app. Super easy on your phone. It's free. And it walks you through each room of your house. And within the app, and I wish I could have I should have done screenshots of my phone and put this up here. But within the app, you can actually go through and it'll ask you, that's the wrong way, NAIC. It'll ask you, like, let's upload a photo. Let me show you. Let's see if I can get living room. If I add an item, it walks you through. I'm going to try to get kind of close up here. It'll walk you through to add a photo. You can list the name, the purchase price, the date, and then you can even the serial number. You can click on this and it'll take you to, well, let me see. It'll take you to a screen where I can scan my serial number. That is the biggest part. You don't have to write all these down. Even typing them out, you may transpose a number, but then it lets you scan that and take a photo of the TV or of whatever item it is and save it. And it categorizes it by room for you. And so this way, and you can export it. You can export this either as a CSV file, a PDF, and you can export your images too. And so you can have all of your information here in the cloud, and that way you can update it as needed, and you can export it and do it directly to wherever you want to save it, or just save it in your phone. It's a really easy way to keep it all together and all of the information, because it walks you through what information you're going to need. Another benefit of doing it like this is that I can export it, I can update it, but I'm getting the information with the picture on it. And if I'm doing that on a spreadsheet, if I'm just tracking all of that information on a spreadsheet, you know, this room, and even if I categorize it, each tab by a different room, where am I going to put that picture in? I'm going to probably have to upload that picture, attach a link to it, put the link into the spreadsheet, so it can get a little bit, it becomes a lot more work. This makes it really easy to do. And Tina, are you, this is you, okay.
I tried to get a picture of what that app looks like when you're looking for it. Because, you know, if you search, I think we were able to find it just home, NAIC home inventory app.
Yes, if you do NAIC and then home inventory, it'll come up with the app, and the app actually, let me see what the picture is here. Well, that doesn't help me.
So if you click on the file that I put in the chat, that's what it looks like in iPhone. The little thing, and where you find those is in your in Apple, you find it in your app store, and in for the Android.
Yeah, Samsung is the store as well. And there's a link if you go to the NAIC site. There's a link in there, but I don't know if you can see the photo there. It's like a little house with a C. And a C in the middle. I don't know what that stands for other than commissioners. But that is a really neat app. It's completely free, and it categorizes everything for you. So that is a blessing, because you can export that. And if something happens, it's really easy to then, you know, go through and do that inventory instead of having to print it up from your spreadsheet or whatever. You can just walk through and say, yep, this looks about right, and you're going on to the next room. So once you have it in here, and it won't take as long to do it because you're not having to retype everything, you can get your photos, you can get your serial numbers. Only work you're going to probably need to do is figure out the date and maybe the price. And I think you could probably go on and figure out what the price is. If you know about the date, that's usually they're pretty good with that. You don't have to say like on June 12th of 2009. You can say, you know, probably around this time, and they're pretty good with that. And then about what you paid for it, they're going to be able to find the replacement cost on it. So that is not an issue at all. Does anyone have any questions about the NAIC? One thing I really like about it is that it's not tied to any specific insurance company. So there's no bias with it. It's not like State Farm or Farmers or Progressive or what, you know, there's no, it's like the umbrella of the insurance world. And so that there's no bias with it. There's no salesy stuff on it. There's no pop-up ads that say, hey, you know, choose what's a good Farmers insurance, or
right,
some tag on there. You're not being forced to have to continue to kind of go through those ads. This is a really great one. I highly recommend going through your house and figuring out your inventory, exporting it, and being able to see if what you have is is actually covered. That's the big thing. Go through your safe, look at that. And for something like this, you could take a photo of, your closet. If it's just like a drawer full of socks and underwear, take a photo, or just put contents clothing, and then kind of incorporate all of that together. You don't have to take a photo of every pair of socks. I mean, you can, but it's going to be a big file. But that way you have where you can export just the photos, or you can export the other items as well. And I say this because, and I don't know if you've had, you had mentioned yesterday, Tina, about like, you have some things that y'all have, like some 3D DVDs and stuff and Gellert has some guitars that may not be covered under homeowners insurance.
Right. We just need to have a copy of all of those and get with our insurance agent and just make sure that it doesn't go over what is automatically covered. Because you set those things up sometimes when you first move into a home, and then you don't really look at it. I mean, you get the information from your insurance company saying, hey, let us know, but it's kind of like that financial advisors. We, as humans, we just kind of put off telling the people who help us with our lives about changes in our lives. So
a lot of what we set up initially, that's a good point. When we set that up initially, it's probably based off of or generalized off of the value of your house. The contents of your house is kind of, based off of that. So you can increase that as well too. So if you have, more expensive items in your home, then yeah, absolutely you can increase that contents of your home and stuff. So it gives you a really good understanding of what you actually own, what you actually have. And again, don't forget storage lockers or storage units. I'm not a big proponent of storage units. I mean, if you move and you are kind of downsizing and you're anticipating, so temporary fix, yes, but I've seen people have storage units for 10, 15 years. You don't need that stuff anymore. It's like, if it's been in there for that long, do you really need it? If you've been without it for this long, and I try to say, if I haven't used it in about 6 to 8 months, it's going away. And so that's kind of and my son is the same. He's like, okay, I have the storage unit. I have some furniture that I really like, but I don't have room for it now. And I'm like, you're probably not going to get a double the size of your apartment. So don't worry about it. Get rid of it. You're spending too much on that, but make sure to include that stuff in there. Make sure to include the stuff in your attic. There's a lot of stuff that we're not really taking into account when we do our home inventory.
So who is ready to do the challenge of doing like a space, maybe 15 minutes a day or maybe 10 minutes a day for the next couple weeks to try to get this done? This is, I might do a little bit maybe on our Facebook page or something, because I really, this is something that I need to do. A little bit about it. So go to our Facebook page, and I'm making myself accountable right now.
Yeah, don't overwhelm yourself. The biggest thing is to not overwhelm yourself. Take time. Even if you have a lot of stuff. I know some people, my mom, in her other house, they had like trinkets and stuff all over. She's like, oh yes, and we have this and this hand blown thing, and so much to dust. And so, but if she was going through the house, I would say quarter the room, do the room in quarters, do this, and give yourself enough time. Don't plan on spending 4 or 5 hours a day doing this. Kind of chunk it out. And this is allowing you, by doing it now, to chunk those areas out and kind of just do a little bit at a time. You know who else it helps a lot is your parents. Or and I know my dad is he's going through some of this stuff. He's not in the best of health. And so he's at that point. I finally got him to really, don't just write down your passwords in this and expect us to decipher what you mean or read your handwriting. So, your passwords, all of that type of stuff, it needs to be documented somewhere. And he's like really into it now. And so he's like, oh yeah, I did this. And then I went the other day and looked in his garage, and I was like, what happened? someone broke into the place and stole everything from your garage. But he's like, I didn't need any of this stuff. There was a lot of stuff out there. He's like, I didn't need it. So I figured I'd simplify. This is a really good way for you to help your parents too. Go in, help them inventory their house. And it may be that there's a lot of stuff that they have that they don't really need either. They just haven't wanted to go through and get rid of any of it. So your challenge, Tina.
This was kind of mentioned yesterday, and then we kind of went away from it. But yeah, just for the next till next time, see if you can get your information either on the app or just get an inventory done, and we'll check with you next week. It's kind of a way for us to transition as we're getting ready for next year, talking about in case you get hit by a bus, all these things that we need to take care of, the things that we've been talking about in these mindful money seminars and other classes that we've been teaching. This is just getting us prepared for what we're doing next.
Exactly. And this is really giving you a plan of attack. And this book, and I love it because I have it here and I have it marked all over, you can see. But I love it because it walks you through from beginning to end. Like, what if something happens to you? Who's going to have your stuff? Who knows what your stuff is? And so it walks you through everything from, and I think we're going to do a full class on just this book. But it walks you through starting with your stuff, getting access to your passwords and any of your codes that you have. How many people know the code to your phone? Do you have a code? Because I mean, if it's thumbprint, let's face it, if you're dead or incapacitated, it's hard to get your thumbprint. And so you need to have the backup code. And who has that? Is something going to another email address? Gary's brother-in-law, they had the darndest time when his brother-in-law passed because his phone went missing. And so they canceled the phone because they couldn't find it. Well, all of his bills were done online. So he had all online statements. Well, they couldn't access his email because that code went to the phone that was no longer available. And so it's like, and they knew no other passwords for him. So they had to wait. They couldn't get the online statements. They couldn't pay for the bills that they needed until those bills started coming in the mail and saying, there's a cancellation notice, you're past due on this. And it's usually, maybe 30 to 60 days before those late notices roll in paper wise. And so they had to wait for all of that to happen. And I think some of it, he was still working on it like 6 months down the road. And so it's really important to give people access to that. You don't have to do it now. You don't have to say, here's the access to my phone. Here's how to access my Netflix account. You don't have to do any of that now. Part of the thing with, in case you get hit by a bus, it's done by, or really pushed out by Everplans. And we offer Everplans to everyone because we pay one price for it per year, and we offer it to anyone that wants to do it because that's how important we feel it is. You can actually grant access to certain people that we call them deputies. And so if something happened to me and I was incapacitated, I could say, Tina, here's the code to my phone. And here's how to access my bank accounts. Here's my super secret password to my Netflix account. And here's my grandmother's chocolate chip cookie recipe. I could do each of those upon incapacitation. She would not gain access to it unless it was proven I was incapacitated. Then I could say, okay, Walter, I'm going to give you access to, let me think of something. I can give you access to my videos that I create. And you can change all of those and put them on YouTube and have access to my crypto accounts. Trying to figure out how to get in crypto accounts. That's what really needs to be in this Everplans. But I'll give you access to my crypto accounts upon my death. And upon my death, when that death certificate is presented, you get the key to access that information. And so it's kind of like a pending power of attorney, if you will. You can't use it now, but in the future, I will give you access to this, and Everplans or your financial advisor, us, they would contact, and it's easier for them to just contact us and say, hey, this is what happened. I need to get access to this certain information. And then we can flip the switch on that and say, this is what we have. It's been presented to us. Boom. They have immediate access. They know that they have pending access. They'll get an email. And by them having pending access as a deputy, they can also establish their own Everplans for free. And this is usually $70 a year to access. And so we provide it to all of our clients and anyone that wants it free. So I definitely would take advantage of that. You can put it acts as a digital vault. You can put your passwords in, your usernames. You can access, link your bank accounts, upload statements, upload your power of attorneys, your will, everything into this. I think it has, I wouldn't upload all of your inventory because there's a limit on the space of images that you can upload. But you can definitely upload PDFs and stuff. You can upload limited images, which is why putting your inventory in here would be good, PDFing it, and then uploading it right into your Everplans.
Yeah, and having the link, having the information of how to get into that inventory. Michelle, if you could look in the chat that I sent directly to you, just to make sure that that is the correct link to share for Everplans. It's sign in PMP.
It should be. And if you want that, just shoot us an email and we can actually go in and help set yours up. But yeah, that should be it. But I don't know. I usually set them up directly.
I'm clicking it to make sure.
Yeah,
it might not be right. Okay, so just email us and we'll.
Yeah, I think that's like my login as the advisor.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're interested in it, we can go in and send an invite to you and go in and add all this stuff up. We're going to do a full class on this book. And if you sign up for the class, you're going to get access to the book and 2 years of Everplans as well, which if you can get it for free, that's not a big thing for you. But you can put everything in there, your medical checkups. It has the home matrix for your house. It's a really neat, a really nifty little book. But that's the important part, because we're doing all of our finances on the side, but we have a whole bunch of stuff that's not just in a checking account or savings account or investment account or IRA or simple or Roth or whatever. We have a whole pot of money we're sitting on in our home. And so we need to be protecting that and keeping track of that just as much as we are looking at our monthly statements.
Does anybody have any questions about the basics of your home inventory and what it means for your net worth, or for knowing what to do with your insurance? You can go ahead and unmute or write it in the chat.
Or is everyone just kind of fully glazed? It's
a lot of information.
It is a lot of information. Oops, jumped ahead. Now, our next one, we do these once a month. Our next one's going to be July 28th. And Tina, I know that we have a special thing going on that day. You want to throw a teaser out about it?
So, well, our teaser is we're going to have a guest contributor. We're going to have Gary come and talk to us a little bit about inflation, because we'll be talking about risk tolerance. And inflation is a big topic right now, and it's something that you have to take into consideration when you're thinking about what you need to save and what your tolerance for risk is. And
if you sign up, aren't we going to have a special gift?
We are going to have a special gift if you sign up, but it's a secret.
We can't tell you what it is yet. You're going to have to show up to get it, but it's really cool. So makes a big difference. Walter, we see that you have your weekend work cut out, don't you?
Yes, I do. And I appreciate y'all seminars more than you will ever know.
Well, we're glad. We enjoy talking about this stuff.